13 Daggers Tattoo Studio is looking for a new tattoo artist. Must be established with a strong portfolio and good work ethic. Stop by today at 13 Daggers across from Patriot Park on Fort Campbell Boulevard. Clarksville's ultimate tattoo studio. Tattoos, touch-ups, and consultations. See the artist's work online at 13daggerstattoo.com and get the custom experience you want with killer ink. Book today and get pricked by a pro. 13 Daggers Tattoo Studio. Rockin' hard on the boulevard.
Here at Tobacco Road Sports Radio, we ask the tough questions.
Hey, you got any left-handed footballs?
We're never afraid to tell you how we feel.
Come on, we look like the damn bad news bears.
We'll debate sports. We'll debate anything.
Man, you lying. You ain't never met Martin Luther King. Not the way out. Yes, he did. No, he didn't. Yes, he did. No, he did not.
No matter what, Tobacco Road Sports Radio has you covered.
I'm going to come right back at him. Soldier.
You're listening to Tobacco Road Sports Radio.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Frankly Speaking Sports. I am your host, Larry Frank, and what a great Tuesday it is today, and what a great show we have for you as well tonight, folks. Just an incredible show. In about 25 minutes, we're going to have former head coach of Clemson University, son of Bobby Bowden, Tommy Bowden will be joining us live. Tommy Bowden will be joining us live. So it's an interview you definitely want to stay tuned for. But we're going to talk about a lot of different things today. A big day in the NFL. We're going to also go over the ACC Tournament that started today. We had 3 games today. We'll highlight some of those games. And then, of course, after the interview with Tommy, we're going to open it up. Fans, go ahead, leave comments under the comment section, and we will try to get to your comments as quickly as we can. So please go ahead and do that. We want to thank all of our stations for being with us tonight. If you have a smart TV and you want to sit down, enjoy this show and watch it, go to Roku TV, download Northeast Streaming Sports, and you can watch this show live on your television on the Northeast Streaming Sports Network. Also tomorrow, you can go ahead and listen to this show in its entirety on Tobacco Road, sportsradio.com, beginning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Like I said, it's an incredible show today, and we're going to start off with the big news of the day, and obviously everybody by now is fully aware of it. Where is Aaron Rodgers going? Will somebody please tell me, where is Aaron Rodgers going? Well, guess what, folks? He's not going anywhere. Just like we told you a couple of weeks ago here on Frankly Speaking Sports, when we said we thought he may be looked at Denver, but our gut opinion, as well as Chris Landry's of Landry Football, was we both said that we thought Aaron Rodgers would stay in Green Bay, and in Green Bay he does. Not only does he stay in Green Bay, but with a record salary. Aaron Rodgers today agreed to terms, a 4-year deal, $200 million, folks. $200 million in Aaron Rodgers' pocket. I believe $153 million of it is guaranteed, so they lock him up for another 4 years. That makes him the highest paid player in NFL history. And, a lot of people say, what's going to happen to Jordan Love? Here he is, a second-round pick. They picked him. When's he going to play? You know what, folks? I can't tell you when he's going to play. I can't tell you if they're going to trade him or what they're going to do, but believe me, Aaron Rodgers is a darn good quarterback, And people seem to forget that because of all the other great quarterbacks that are in the league. Let's not forget, he threw for 4,100 yards this year, 37 touchdowns, but Aaron Rodgers does not throw the ball away. He does not throw interceptions. He only threw 4 interceptions this year and had a quarterback rating of 111.9. Just an incredible, accuracy with the ball. It's just incredible. I want to make sure, telling me on SportsWire Radio, they just hear static, so I'm not sure what's going there. For you folks that are on my other networks, if you can please let me know. Let me go ahead and just check the microphones here, make sure that we are on correctly here. Yep, we sure are. So if somebody who's on Facebook, one of the regulars that are listening on some of the other platforms, okay, I'm not sure what they're saying. Okay, they're talking about their website. Let me see real quick if I can go ahead and connect to them right now, because their network is not connecting for some reason. So I'm not sure what is going on there. So for those people that are on SportsWire, we are trying to connect, but it keeps saying disconnected on it. So we do apologize for that. We'll try to bring it up in a second, but I'm not sure what's going on. Let's go ahead and try one more time, folks. So bear with us just for 1 second here, if you may. Hopefully we'll stay up here as we try to get SportsWire on one more time. So I'm trying to get SportsWire on real quick here. But I'm not sure. We're going to go ahead and, like I said, for those guys on SportsWire, we did everything the same here, so we're not sure what's going on, but we're going to go ahead and continue with what we're doing. I do apologize that you can't hear nothing. We're checking with our other networks. Like I said, if there's anybody else on any of the other platforms that real quickly, I'm going to check on Facebook if you can hear us real quick. And then we should be able to see real quick. Let me check here. So I apologize about the technical difficulties, folks. Yeah, but for some reason we're not coming through on SportsWire. We apologize about those folks on SportsWire. We're going to go ahead and continue our show. Unfortunately, we don't have the time where we and the capacity to go ahead and start working things out while the show is on. So I just went ahead and tried to connect again. For those of you trying to listen on SportsWire, it's saying it is connecting, but it's not connecting. So I apologize. But as we move on, folks, Aaron Rodgers, a big deal. And the other news of the day had to be some of the biggest news as we switch to it right now. And what a blockbuster trade it was, folks. Blockbuster trade as Russell Wilson. I apologize. I'm trying to read comments. Afterwards we'll find out what's going on. But anyway, Russell Wilson, an incredible trade by the Broncos to acquire Aaron Rodgers. Just an incredible trade. And they gave up a lot. Sorry, not Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. What an incredible trade this was. Russell Wilson goes to the Denver Broncos. In return, okay, the Seattle Seahawks get this year's first-round pick, which is number 9. Second-round pick, which is number 40. Fifth-round pick, which is number 151. And then next year, they get first and second-round picks. Now, remember, this is a Broncos team on offense that was lacking a little bit of an offensive line, but also a quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater wasn't the answer. And they had problems. Luck wasn't the answer there. They just continue to have problem after problem after problem, where their problems are solved at the quarterback position now that he's there. Denver was 23rd in points scored at 19.7, 20th in passing yards, 20th in yards per games, and 21st in third down efficiency. So you can see how much that offense has struggled over the last year. And now you bring a guy like Russell Wilson who can do so much with the ball. And this offense is only going to get much better. I mean, they got two great running backs on the Denver Broncos. They got Melvin Gordon, 918 yards, 8 touchdowns. Javonte Williams, 900 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's at running back. Between the two running backs, 12 touchdowns, 1,800 yards rushing. Meanwhile, Jerry Jeudy was hurt a lot last year. Didn't get to play. Now you team him up with Noah Fant, the incredible tight end for Seattle. Just an incredible offense this team can have. They can get a couple of guys around this offensive line to protect him and build up that defense. They're going to be a much better team. This was an offensive line that was ranked 19th most. I repeat, 19th it was ranked in the NFL last year. So they have an opportunity for a lot of improvement on that offensive line. If they can get this defense up, the Broncos were 7-10 in 2021. They are in a division where Kansas City, the Raiders are in there, and the Chargers. So it's a tough little division. And if you can get Denver playing well now, wow, it's going to be unbelievable out there in the West. So, 2 big trades already. Also, we found out Mike Williams supposedly is signed by the San Diego Chargers, the wide receiver. So big news happening today in the NFL. And you're going to find out, folks. I don't know why this says Aaron Rodgers. It should say Russell Wilson by now. But, you're going to find out that it's going to continue to have lots and lots and lots of trades going on upcoming to the draft. Now, the draft is basically less than a month and a half away. So a lot's going to happen in the NFL. Keep your ears and eyes opening as things are about to get really, really exciting in the NFL before the NFL draft. Let's go ahead and take our first break of the night. When we come back, we're going to talk ACC Tournament. What's happening in the ACC? We'll be back right after this.
13 Daggers Tattoo Studio is looking for a new tattoo artist. Must be established with a strong portfolio and good work ethic. Stop by today at 13 Daggers across from Patriot Park on Fort Campbell Boulevard. Clarksville's ultimate tattoo studio. Tattoos, touch-ups, and consultations. See the artist's work online at 13daggerstattoo.com and get the custom experience you want with killer ink. Book today and get pricked by a pro. 13 Daggers Tattoo Studio. Looking hard on the boulevard.
We love sports.
Joe Louis, the greatest boxer ever lived.
Not only do we love sports, but we love to debate sports.
He was bad in Captain Clay. He bad in Sugar Ray. He bad in that. Who that? The new boy has. Mike Tyson look like a bulldog. He bad at him too. He done whip Mike Tyson there. He whip all their ass.
For the best sports analysis in the triad.
What about Rocky Marciano?
In-depth local coverage of your favorite schools and teams.
Let me tell you something once for all. Rocky Marciano was good, but compared to Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano ain't.
And of course, the best sports debate in the triad.
Beat Joe Lewis's ass.
Welcome to Tobacco Road Sports Radio.
Joe Louis was 75 years old when he fought.
You're welcome.
I don't know how old he was, but got it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Frankly Speaking Sports. I'm your host, Larry Frank. Want to thank all the different networks that are on with us this evening, tonight. A great show. We are about 10 minutes away from having Tommy Bowden, the former Clemson University head coach and son of former coach of Florida State University, Bobby Bowden. He'll be joining us in about 10 minutes, but we want to start, talking about the tournaments. And the ACC Tournament started up today, folks. And it started with Boston College playing Pittsburgh at 2 p.m. earlier today. And Boston College whooped up on Pittsburgh, which is no surprise, 66-46. BC was led by James Connick, 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. And DeMar Langford Jr., who had 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. BC shot 53%, folks. 53% from the field. That's the formula for winning in the NCAA. Over 50%, incredible by the Boston College Eagles. And they hit 46.7% out there in three-point land. So an incredible game. Boston College will move on in the ACC Tournament. Now, in the second game, which was the 4 o'clock game or the 4:30 game, Clemson got by North Carolina State by the score of 70-64. Clemson was led by P.J. Hall, who had 18 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, and 4 blocked shots. What a game by P.J. Hall. Let's not forget Nick Horner, who also had 13 points for Clemson. And off the bench for Clemson Tigers, how about Alamir Dawes, who had 12 points and 3 rebounds off the bench. Meanwhile, North Carolina State was led, as always, by Darion Seaborn, who had 19 points for North Carolina. But, North Carolina State. But what a game for Clemson. And, this is a game, folks, where neither team shot well. None of these teams shot the ball well. None of them. Look at this. Clemson shot 41.7% from the field. Meanwhile, North Carolina State, a dismal 34.9 field goal. Well, Larry, how did they do from three-point range? Neither team did well. And remember, Clemson has a decent shooting team, but they didn't shoot well, but it was still good enough to beat North Carolina State, who, like I said, just had a terrible year. Just a terrible year. And meanwhile, three-point range, Clemson, 26.1. But you think that's bad, folks? How about North Carolina State? 17.4%. That's right, 17.4% from deep, 4 out of 23. That's it. There was nothing spectacular. This North Carolina State team needed so much more help. And from the free throw line, Clemson, 60%. I look at free throws. This tournament goes down. Clemson can't do anything if they don't get that free throw shooting down. 60%. Come on, guys. 60.9. Come on. Meanwhile, North Carolina State did shoot 72.7%. Now, as we go ahead, and I'm going to pull this up and see if I left it up for you folks, because there is another game going on right now. And I'm not sure if I took that off. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, let's go ahead and bring that back up. And right now, it looks like at Georgia Tech lost to Louisville 84-74. So that is now a final. Once again, Louisville 84, Georgia Tech 74. Louisville was led by Jared West, who had 20 points. He had 3 assists and 4 steals in the game for the Louisville team, for the Cardinals. Meanwhile, Malik Williams also had 14 points, had 10 rebounds, 2 assists in that game, and a block shot as Louisville defeats Georgia Tech. Meanwhile, Georgia Tech, in a losing effort, was led by Jordan Ursher, who had 19 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists in the game. So, as we move on in the tournament, let's go ahead and see what's coming up. Tomorrow, it'll be Syracuse playing Florida State at 12 p.m. Boston College and Wake Forest will play at 2:30 p.m. Clemson will play Virginia Tech at 7 p.m. and then Louisville will play Virginia at 9:30 p.m. So a full day of ACC tournament starting tomorrow with the kickoff at 12 noon on ESPN. Syracuse, Florida State will be on ESPN. Boston College, Wake Forest will be on ESPN. And then ESPN2 will cover the Louisville, Virginia game. And then from there on, we'll see who will advance to play Duke, Miami, Notre Dame, and North Carolina on Thursday. So lots of ACC tournament action. We will keep you posted on this as the week goes along. And we'll try to keep you updated as much as possible on that. As I look to see if there's any other scores that might jump out at us. No. So that's the ACC roundup, folks. And we'll keep you reported live from Brooklyn, New York. We get all that information in, and we will go ahead and keep you updated. But a lot going on. You got Wake Forest, North Carolina, Clemson won. So, and Duke, all these teams from North Carolina, these are teams fighting to get into March Madness. And you would think, these teams with 20 wins will get in. You would think a Wake Forest, a North Carolina, obviously a Duke, they're getting in. But, it should be exciting, and we'll see who wins this tournament coming up. Let's go ahead and take a break. We're about 3 minutes away from Tommy Bowden being on with us. Let's take another quick break, and we'll be back right after this message.
We love sports.
Joe Lewis, the greatest boxer ever lived.
Not only do we love sports, but we love to debate sports.
He was bad in Captain Clay. He bad in Sugar Ray. He bad in that. Who that's the new boy has? Mike Tyson look like a bulldog. He bad at him too. He done whipped Mike Tyson there. He whipped all their ass.
For the best sports analysis in the triad.
What about Rocky Marciano?
In-depth local coverage of your favorite schools and teams.
Let me tell you something wonderful. Rocky Marciano was good. But compared to Joe Lewis, Rocky Marciano ain't.
And of course, the best sports debate in the triad.
Beat Joe Lewis's ass.
Welcome to Tobacco Road Sports Radio.
Joe Lewis was 75 years old when he fought.
You're welcome.
I don't know how old he was, but got it at him.
This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Frankly Speaking Sports. We're moments away from having Coach Bowden on with us, so he should be coming on any second right now. And as soon as we get on, we will go on with that interview. But, when you look at the world of sports and everything that's coming up, you got the ACC Tournament, you got March Madness, you had the Charlotte FC, MLS soccer is in full swing. Lots of sports going on. Everybody's waiting for baseball to decide when they want to be the part of this excitement that is going on in the United States of America. Hopefully, this will be soon. They are talking as we speak. Hopefully, they will come up with some type of agreement here in the next couple of hours. I know they've been going through compromises, trying to do things to go ahead and get this game back on the field. As soon as we get updated information, we will report it to you as soon as possible. As I'm going to see if anybody has updated here. It doesn't look like any update yet from the world of baseball. So if anybody has heard anything, just give us a note. But we just checked with our sources and nothing has been updated. Ladies and gentlemen, we are a couple minutes away from having Tommy Bowden, former Clemson head coach, on with us. He should be trying to get on here any second now. But I want to thank, and this gives us time to thank everybody on Facebook, on Frankly Speaking Sports and Northeast Streaming Sports. on YouTube Live, Twitter Live, Twitch Live, and all the other networks, Northeast Streaming Sports, Roku Channel, Sportswire Radio. What else we got that I'm missing? I said Tobacco Radio, Road Sports Radio, Roku Channel on Northeast Streaming Sports. So thank you very, very, very much to all of you. I mean, it's been incredible. We are now over 2 years on the set now, and it's been an incredible 2 years here with some unbelievable great interviews that we have done. So it's been good, and we're looking forward to doing many, many, many more on Frankly Speaking Sports. As you know, folks, the operation is right now, basically here at the Frankly Speaking Sports. If you see me looking away or I take a second to pause, don't get nervous. I'm just checking as I, make sure that the interviewers that are coming on are getting on and everything. So I'll check with Tommy right now and make sure he is coming on with us. So let me let him know. So there we go, and hopefully he'll be on. Want to remind everyone that we have a comment section here. For those of you that are listening to the show live on Tuesday evening, obviously we're on TobaccoRoadSportsRadio.com. You can't leave a message. I apologize about that. But go ahead, under the comment section, anything you want to talk about, anything you want to think about. We just had a fan on the hotline asking if we thought the Tennessee Titans, were going to switch quarterbacks. Well, hopefully they heard Aaron Rodgers is not coming to Tennessee as he has signed today. So that's not happening. But, Ryan Tannehill, over the course of the years, has done a decent job. I wouldn't say it's all world numbers, but Ryan Tannehill has been a solid quarterback with the Tennessee Titans. And, unless they can find someone that they think is better than Ryan Tannehill, I don't see him, I don't see him being replaced. I really, really don't think he's being replaced. I think the Tennessee Titans, when you look at the division and you look at Jacksonville, Indianapolis, Houston, it's not a very tough division. Houston's not going to be good. Jacksonville's not going to be good. The question is going to be what's going on in Indianapolis in that division. What's going on with Wentz? Are they going to have him back? Are they not going to have him back? Is he done for good? Who knows? But right now, if the Tennessee Titans can just show up in 2022 and just play the type of football they know how to play, that Mike Vrabel likes them to play disciplined football, they're going to have no problem winning that division. So Tennessee fans, just relax a little bit. I know the playoffs, you want to get to the Super Bowl. I understand that, but at the end of the day, you guys will be just fine. As we are waiting for Tommy Bowden. Wow, that was a slip. To come on with us. Hopefully he'll be on any second with us. We just sent a message out to him, and we should have Tommy on shortly here. So I apologize to you fans that are waiting for Tommy. It should be hopefully just a few moments as he works through some of his equipment to get on our show. Let me go ahead and we'll try to one more time get him this way. So Tommy is hopefully on his way on now. As I just move around. So I am hoping here, folks. I just went ahead and texted him. So hopefully everything is a go. All right, we did that way. And then let's do one more thing here and we'll make sure. Okay, so I do apologize, folks. Like I said, sometimes, all right, so we just sent it to everything. So there's nothing else we can send him a message on. Every single platform. So hopefully he'll see it and he'll be with us in a moment. It's right now 9:30, so hopefully he'll be on any second with that. But, we were talking about Major League Baseball, and this is a situation, folks, this lockout, which hopefully you're not hearing a lot about right now. Not hopefully, but, it really hasn't been on everyone's mind with all the excitement going on in the world of sports with the tournament starting up. But I'm going to tell you something. If these owners don't stop being as greedy as they are being, they're going to be out a lot more money than they would have been if something else wasn't going on. I mean, it's just an amazing, amazing amount of money they're losing because they're just being selfish. I mean, at the end of the day, they are just being selfish. So hopefully they get this thing figured out and they get it figured out quickly. As I look at another comment here, okay, Carolina fan, thank you so much. What's going on? What do you think's going on with the quarterback situation in Carolina? I don't, folks, we've talked about this number of times on this show already. Okay, I do not believe that Kenny Pickett is the answer. I'm not sold on Kenny Pickett. The way he plays the quarterback position. Kenny Pickett is one of those guys that has trouble in the pocket. He doesn't know how to step up in the pocket, and when pressure is put on him, he tends to move around a little too much, scatters around really, really a lot, and it causes him a lot for him to go ahead and get out of trouble. So I'm not a big Kenny Pickett fan. Number two, Sam Darnold did not do a great job last year. Now, in all fairness to Sam Darnold, just like when he was in New York with the Jets, he did not have an offensive line. Not only did he not have a great offensive line, it was one of the worst, I think second to worst or first, right before the worst ranked offensive line in the National Football League. So it was definitely a tough season for Sam Darnold. Can Sam do better when he has a great offensive line? It's hard to answer that question. The reason why it's so difficult to answer that question is he's never had the opportunity to play around a good offensive line. So until he gets a good offensive line, folks, we're never going to know if he is a good quarterback or not a good quarterback. Based on the results that we've seen so far, you'd have to go towards him not being a great quarterback. So it's a tough situation. So what does that mean? Who is available now? Russell Wilson isn't the answer. He just signed. He just got traded to Denver. Aaron Rodgers ain't the answer. He just went back to Green Bay. Who's available? Is it Kirk Cousins? Kirk Cousins, great quarterback, great passer, great accuracy. If you look at Kirk Cousins and statistically look at him, he has been one of the best quarterbacks over the past 10 years statistically. One of the top 10 year after year after year. That's consistency, folks. Unfortunately, he hasn't won where he's been. So how do we rate, and we'll get into that in a minute, how do we rate greatness? Do you rate it by wins? Do you rate it by statistics? Do you rate it by Super Bowls? It's a great question, and we can battle that all night long. But to go back to this question, probably the only other person besides Kirk Cousins that I could see coming here would be possibly Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston is a quarterback that had trouble under the system with Bruce Arians. But every single quarterback that has played with Bruce Arians, including Tom Brady, has had trouble their first year under that system. It took Tom a good 10 games before he got comfortable, maybe a little more, in that system. Okay, so everyone goes, well, Jameis Winston throws for 5,000 yards almost. He throws over 30 touchdowns and, yes, over 30 interceptions. But at the end of the day, folks, it's incredible how people just don't understand football. Here he goes to New Orleans under Sean Payton, who's a terrific coach, and he plays very well. Almost mistake-free football. He's doing real well. The Saints are winning, and what happens? He gets hurt. His ACL. He's out the year. So the question is, from what we're understanding and hearing from our sources, is that Jameis will be okay the start of the season. He is working hard to get back into football shape, and he should be healthy and ready to go. That could be another fit for those Carolina Panthers. So to answer your question, if it isn't going to be Sam Darnold, they don't have anyone. Cam Newton is not the answer. At the end of the day, it's going to have to be someone like a Jameis Winston or a Kirk Cousins. Those are the two that come to my mind the first when I think of the right quarterback in this league. Ladies and gentlemen, another thing I want to talk about is greatness in the NFL. And you see people, they talk about greatness. Should Eli Manning be in the Hall of Fame? Should he not be in the Hall of Fame? A lot of people say, well, he won 2 Super Bowls. Is winning 2 Super Bowls enough to get you in the Hall of Fame? There have been quarterbacks like Dan Marino, just to name one off the top of my head, or even Jim Kelly. Jim got there 4 times, but he's never won a Super Bowl. Dan's never won a Super Bowl. Are we going out there and saying they're not great quarterbacks because of that? No, of course not. Okay, but at the end of the day, you got to separate. You got to look at a variety of stuff. And winning the Super Bowl doesn't mean you're a great quarterback. You could be a good quarterback and win the Super Bowl. The key to winning is not making mistakes. That is the key. It's not making mistakes. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my great honor, thrill, and pleasure as we bring up our new features here to introduce to you. We're very proud to have with us former Clemson University head football coach, son of Bobby Bowden, Tommy Bowden with us. Let's go ahead and welcome into the 13 Daggers studio, Frankly Speaking Sports Studio. How are you doing tonight, Tommy?
Good evening. Usually about my bedtime right now.
I thought you might have fell asleep. That's what I was thinking. I said, oh, my goodness. Hope you didn't fall asleep on me. Tommy, let me ask you a question. I've been on the go the last few days, so I was wearing down. Well, I appreciate you coming on with us tonight. Tommy, I want to ask you, we were just talking about ACC basketball before you came on a little while ago, and about March Madness coming up. And to start off the talk with you, I figured it's a good time to ask you, when you see March Madness and 64 basketball teams in there fighting for the championship, it makes you wonder if the NCAA in football is doing something wrong with the way they currently have the playoff system. Are you in favor of having more teams in the national championship playoffs?
Yeah, I really would. Even though I think the playoff committee has gotten it right. I think every year they've had the 2 best teams in the playoff, but I really think it's time to go for more, 8, maybe even more than 8. But I think we ought to try 8. And the money, right now everything's about the money, and universities are struggling. Very few of them can survive on their own. But it'd be a great revenue source for additional income for the NCAA and for college football. And I'm surprised they hadn't done it yet. But I would be in favor of it. Experiment with 8 pretty soon, and let's see how it goes. If we need to get more than that.
Tommy, you come from a family of coaches, let me say. When you started coaching, at Tulane as a head coach at Tulane, did you feel any extra pressure to succeed because of your name and being the son of the great Bobby Bowden?
Really not so much from my father, though. When I became the head coach of Tulane, he had gained a lot of notoriety by then, but it was more self-imposed pressure. I knew if I ever wanted to advance in the profession to a Power 5 school, I was going to have to be successful at Tulane. But I think I was really prepared simply because of with Terry being a head coach, my father being a head coach. I had a lot of resources I could go to. I felt real confident, but I did not really feel any additional pressure because of Bobby Bowden. It was more internal pressure and self-imposed.
Now, let me ask you, talk about how when you were growing up, did your father, was he the one, and I would assume he was, that influenced you to become a coach in football? And what was probably the greatest thing that he may have told you that you will never forget about coaching?
Well, he never really, he really didn't encourage or discourage any of his children, any of his sons anyway, to go into coaching. He had 4 sons. 3 of us chose to go into coaching, but we all pretty much made the decisions ourselves. We were lucky where we were in an environment where our father, who had success, he was very balanced because of his faith. A lot of stress and pressure and anxiety and volatility in the coaching profession, but he was grounded and he was centered by his faith. That was a good example for us. And I can remember, Larry, the first time, my first full-time job was at East Carolina, coaching the secondary. And I flew out from Tallahassee up toward Greenville, North Carolina, where East Carolina is. And I remember getting on the plane. He says, 2 things you better have in this profession. One would be patience, and the other would be perseverance. And both those things are really needed in this profession. But patience and perseverance. And then one other thing, the first time I played him in the Bowden Bowl, when I was the head coach at Clemson, he was at Florida State, 17-14. He won the national championship that year, went undefeated. We played him closer than anybody, 17-14, lost on a late field goal. And after the game, he came up and shook hands, the media rounds, everybody around. He got real close to my ear, and he said, "Son," you better go recruiting. And recruiting's the name of the game. So he gave us some great advice there. Go get good players.
So, Tommy, who was your mom rooting for during that game?
She rooted. She played like she was happy for me, but she wasn't. She was, she was sleeping with a head coach, and he had the daggone credit card. So she was no doubt. He was toward in the 70s when I went to Clemson. He was toward the end of his career. I was kind of starting mine, so she kind of wanted to see him go out on a high note. So she was in his camp. We played 9 times. He won 5, and I won 4.
So let me ask you, as the head coach, what was your expectations from your players, and what was it do you feel about your leadership style that got them to perform?
Well, you really try to be fair and honest on how you deal with players, whether, there's a 2-star or 5-star, whether they're a freshman or sophomore or senior. You try to play the best players regardless of how long they've been there, how much experience. You've got to get the best players on the field. And if you treat them fairly to reach that goal, then I think they respect you, as long as you're honest, as long as you're fair. And I remember in discipline players, I read something by Denny Green, used to be head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, I believe. He made a statement one time on discipline. He says, "I don't treat everybody the same, but I treat them fair." And I took that to mean, you recruit some players that they just didn't have the best environment. Single parent family, mother or father worked 2 jobs, wasn't around much, didn't have good social skills, didn't have good time management skills, study habits. So I was a lot more patient with those guys as opposed to maybe somebody who's raised in a 2-parent home, a college education that had all those things, those intangibles for as far as guidance and direction at home. I'd be a little harder on them in discipline than I would the other guy, but try to be fair.
We're talking to Tommy Bowden, former head coach at Clemson University from 1999 until 2008. Coach, let me ask you this. You talk about recruiting and the importance of recruiting. What was the one thing when you went into a family's house for a recruit? What was the one reason you preached to that kid that they should come play, whether it was at Tulane when you were coaching or Clemson, but why should they come play for the university that you are coaching?
You know, one of the things I learned from my father, of course, my father had 4 sons, and when you're a coach, you really got 85 sons is what you've got. Now, you have to be careful that you raise everybody else's children other than your own. There's a fine balance you have between your own children and your players. But I think it's important that you treat them and discipline them and try to manage them like you would your own son. And you give your son a second chance if he got in trouble, and you wouldn't kick him to the curb if he broke the rules. You'd give him some discipline, and then let him back on the team. And so you really tried to treat your players just like you would your own children. If I was disciplining my son, I would not discipline any different than I would the players. And I think they get a sense of that. And I know the mothers and the parents appreciate it when you say that, but you have to do it when the time comes.
Right. Now, talk about your relationship with Davos Sweeney. Obviously, talk about how it got started. I know you hired him as an assistant coach when you were with Clemson. And are you surprised, and how proud of him are you at how successful he has become as a head coach?
Well, he's really done a great job. I coached Dabo in college when he was when I was coaching receivers at Alabama. So I actually had a relationship with him then. And then as I got into coaching, I had a position come open. Rick Stockstill, the head coach at Middle Tennessee State, left, and I was looking for a wide receiver coach. Somebody had a good resume as far as a recruiter, and he surely had an impressive resume, but he was actually out of coaching when I hired him. I think, I'm not sure who the head coach was, maybe DeBose or Stallings that left, and Dabo was out of job. And Dabo he got out of coach for a couple of years. And he sent me a resume, and a real impressive resume from a recruiting standpoint. I remember what my father said about the team of the best players usually wins. So I was looking for good recruiters, and he had a really great track record as a recruiter. So I hired him as a wide receiver coach, promoted him with some titles, and then when I left, recommended him to the AD that I thought he had all the intangibles. He's got a great wife, Kathleen, that's the wife's awful important, I think, with a college football coach. He had a great football wife, good family guy, and he had great communication skills. There's a toughness aspect to him. So I thought he had all the ingredients, as I was sharing with the athletic director, that to be a really good head coach. Did he or I or anybody expect that he would have this kind of success? No, every head coach wants that kind of success and would love to have it and works to have that, but it's difficult to do, especially nowadays in times. But a little surprised like he was that he had that much success, but he's done a really good job there. And he's a big vision guy, and that's one thing I noticed as an assistant for me. He had a plan.
When you look back at your career, Coach, and you have to rank some stuff, what would you rank at the top of your most memorable moments while coaching?
Yeah, I'd say probably a couple of them. One would be, I think in 2003, maybe beat Florida State. I think they were third in the nation. And that win kind of put us on track. I'd lost to them my first 4 years, lost to Florida State. Then we won the last 4 out of 5. But you got to get over the hump. Yeah, I didn't realize when I took the job, Clemson had not scored a touchdown, not a touchdown in 10 years of playing Florida State. Five years in Tallahassee, they hadn't even scored a touchdown, much less win the game. So there's a lot of work to be done. And so that first time we beat them, players got a lot of confidence. We'd recruited better and then beat them the last 4 out of 5. So I think that 2003 win. And then there's a year you got Coach Holtz up there on the background myself that I played South Carolina and I think beat them 63-17 at their place. And it really gives you a huge recruiting advantage in the small state of South Carolina going against South Carolina, your rivalry. When you can have a significant victory at their stadium, it kind of gives you a boost in recruiting. So those two games, as far as when I was at Clemson, would be two big wins.
The NFL every year, lately anyway, has had the NFL Combine. And I love getting different opinions, especially from college coaches, on whether they think it's a necessary thing to have, or do you think the NFL Combine is overrated? Because they got plenty of tapes on these guys they can watch on how they play, throughout the year. So it seems like it's more of a competition thing than it is, for an NFL thing. Do you think it's overrated?
I really do think it's a little overrated. Probably, I can only imagine how much money is spent on the combine. That could maybe be spent with a community project or something in their own hometowns. But you're like you said, those pro scouts, they're in there. As a head coach, you got to prove when they come in. They're in there all the time evaluating on film. Of course, the most important thing is not those the weightlifting. The testing that they do, mental testing, all the testing that they do, physical and mental, in that combine doesn't trump or supersede the ability to play once it's kicked off. Can they play between the white lines? Yeah. They evaluate them for so many years, coming into spring ball and all during the fall, watching tape relentlessly. So yeah, I think it is a little bit overrated. Probably waste some money. They've got a pretty good idea before that combine about who they want and what skills they bring to the table.
We're talking to Tommy Bowden, former head coach at Clemson University. You talked about discipline and how you were able to treat the guys that played for you like your own kids and discipline how you would your own kids. But something and I will tell you right now, Coach, I am totally against it. I don't like it. Is this transfer portal they have, because I really believe it takes the discipline out of the coaches in college football. And what I mean by that is you can upset one kid just by giving him corrective feedback on how to do something. He says, well, the heck with you, coach. I'm going to go ahead and go from Clemson to Florida State. What is your opinion of the transfer portal? Do you like it? Now, I know there's exceptions if there's a death in a family, this or that, but I'm talking from an overall perspective. What's your thought on
it? The intent is good. The implementation has been terrible. It really has, and when you mention the discipline aspect, discipline's a part of a important characteristic in marriage and business and football and in life. Discipline's awful important. But you're afraid to discipline now because they'll be gone. And the discipline, it carries over to academics, and a lot of these guys come in, they don't have good study habits, time management skills. So you have organized study hall, meeting with tutors and things like that. They'll miss them and they'll be late and they won't turn in. So you discipline for academic reasons, they'll take off. And I think that transfer portal has just enhanced bad performance on the field and bad performance in the community, character-wise, and then also bad performance academically. I think it's been terrible the way it's been implemented, and they need to do something. That and the NIL needs some standards and some procedure that's organized. It's going to ruin college football.
The big talk around college football lately has been the realignment of all these Power 5 conferences. You go back and you think of all the rivalries you were involved back, back in the late 90s and the early 2000s. Do you think the realignment, the way they're going about doing it, is good for college football or is it bad for college football?
Well, it's good for the Power 5 schools. It's not good for Cincinnati, Tulane, Memphis, East Carolina, those non-Power 5 schools. You're talking about some huge separation. Years ago, when some of these the larger schools started going into an arms race and paying their head coaches more and their assistant coaches more, a lot of us, I can remember Jackie Sherrill and Philip Fulmer, two guys I used to talk and go on a Nike trip with them, and they would talk about how there was going to be a separation between the Power 5s and the non-Power Fives, and I think that's what you're seeing. You're going to see a 5 Power 5 conferences. Just say there's 10 in a conference, 50, 60 teams that are going to separate from the rest. And NIL is going to be a reason for separation. Facilities is going to be a reason for separation. Monies you can pay the head coach and salaries. So it's been great for the Power Fives. I don't think it's been good for college football. I don't think it's been good for the group of 5. It's going to continue to be the haves and the have-nots, and I don't think that's good for the overall the dealings of college football.
You're a head coach of a university. You get to a bowl game. You know, all year long, obviously your goal is to win the championship, but you get to a bowl game and you have a player that says, Coach, I don't want to play because I don't want to get hurt because I'm going to be drafted in a couple of months. What is your opinion of that?
Yeah, it's hard not to it's hard not to wish him the best, tell him you'll do anything you can do to help him, because all of a sudden you convince him to play and he gets a knee injury, back injury, head, something's going to really affect his future in the NFL. Boy, you'd never live it down. So I think when a player, that just wasn't that prevalent when I was coaching, and really they hadn't started doing that when I got out of coaching. But I can imagine dealing with it now, that I think the only thing you can do is say, hey, we're going to help you any way we can. And you can still use facilities, still coming around. We want you to be a part of the team. Wish you were going to play, but I don't think you can really make it more difficult on that player. Tough decision. I'm sure he sat down with his parents and some mentors and made it. But I think all you do is wish him the best and sever ties.
Coach, we had a situation this year in college football, as you well know, where Notre Dame had an opportunity to get into the playoff round, the top 4 in college football. Brian Kelly goes ahead right before then, before knowing that they were out of the picture, and takes the job with LSU. What are your thoughts now on these coaches leaving a program before the season's even over?
There's being somebody that left Tulane after we went undefeated before they played in the bowl game. There's never a good time to leave. There really isn't. So, like Brian Kelly leaving, he's employed by LSU at that particular time, and then he needs to go start, in my opinion, start working for LSU like he did. And a lot of times, the athletic director and administration don't want you around. I think when I made my decision, I wanted to go ahead and get started at Clemson. They were my new employee, and had capable coaches, Rich Rodriguez, on the staff to take them through the bowl game. They have got quality guys on the staff that can do that. I think once a coach makes a decision, because if he stays, a lot of times he's a distraction. The story, had he stayed, would have been about Brian Kelly, would not have been about Notre Dame. So I think it eliminates a lot of distractions. When you decide to take a job, go and make a clean break and let the university start as soon as they can on finding a replacement and head the direction they want to go. That's just my personal opinion.
Couple more questions. We'll let you run, Coach. I'm seeing a lot more coaches in college football being hired, but they're being hired to win and win now. They're not necessarily given the time to rebuild it and get enough of their recruits in the program. And we've seen that again this year. I mean, as college football becomes such a big business where, the rebuilding is done, you come here and we expect you to win now. And is it fair to a head coach, like when you came into Clemson, if they would have let you go after year 2 because you didn't win the first 2 years, is that fair for a head coach or not fair?
Well, it's right now the salaries demand immediate success.
Right.
Saban's a guy that's put a standard in the SEC. When Mark Richt, a great coach, is gone, Philip Foreman was a great coach, was gone. Nick Saban set such a high standard in the SEC that they're gone. But I believe because they're paid so much that they want immediate results. If you cannot, if you don't agree with that as a coach, and you go in there, choose another profession, because that's the way it is. So is it fair? Probably not. But again, the salaries dictate immediate success. I was fortunate at Tulane to immediately turn both programs around. I think coming off a 3-win season at Tulane, then we had 7, a 3-win season at Clemson before I got there. Then we went to 6, the bowl game the first year. It really helps if you can have success immediately. Not only your players and your fans getting behind you, but the administration. But when you don't, you can expect the worst, especially with the way the climate is right now and the standard that they want. Florida would be another example of expectations maybe not being realistic. But it's not fair, but it's the law of the land right now.
Last question, Coach. How fulfilling is it for a head coach like yourself to work with players, develop players, train the players, and then continue to see them progress and move on and get drafted in the NFL?
Well, that's a rewarding part of it. Maybe even more than that is as they get older and get married and have children, and then to see them be really, really strong husbands and fathers, productive members of society, having, getting a job and succeeding in a profession other than football. Yeah, it is good to always see them go to the NFL, because that's all their goal. All their goals, all their dreams are to get to the NFL. That might last 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and they got the rest of their life. So there's a great deal of a sense of satisfaction when they do get drafted, make it with a team. It's even more rewarding to see your players as they get older, have children, have families, come back and see and mature in more ways than just athletically on the field. So those are 2 high spots for a coach, when they go in the NFL and when they succeed in life after football.
Well, Coach, listen, I want to thank you very, very much. I know you've had a busy schedule last couple of weeks, but I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time out of your schedule to join us on Frankly Speaking Sports.
Yeah, let's do it again. Appreciate what you do for college football and sports.
All right, thank you, and be safe, Coach. All righty. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Tommy Bowden, former head coach of Clemson University from 1999 until 2008. And what a great interview. It was well worth the wait to get Tommy on. Hopefully you enjoyed that interview and you enjoyed this show tonight. Folks, we are out of time, but tomorrow, Dick Bosman, former Major League pitcher, is going to be on with us. So make sure you tune in on all our Frankly Speaking Sports networks. Until tomorrow night, from all of us here at Frankly Speaking Sports, good night.